Coming up, we talk about Rafiki's Planet Watch possibly closing, a new ticket pricing structure is announced for Walt Disney World, we start spreading some theme park rumors, and in the main segment, we share why we love Pandora, the world of Avatar. All that and more on this episode of WDW Opinion. Cue the music.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
This is the podcast where two friends, Connor,
You are a child's plaything!
and Hank,
You are a sad, strange little man, and you have my pity.
share their opinions, tips, and stories about anything and everything at Walt Disney World.
Trust me, what could go wrong?
Get ready, because this is WDW Opinion.
Or in the tower. We are ready for takeoff.
Hello and welcome to episode number 13 of WDW Opinion, the podcast where friends talk Disney. Visit WDWOpinion.com to check out our blog posts on all things Disney and Universal, and follow us on social media at WDW Opinion to see what we're up to in between episodes. I am your host, Connor Brown, and I am joined by my co-host and Disney partner in crime, Mr. Hank Molsky. Hank, I have an announcement to make to you, and I wanted to get your reaction recorded live.
Okay, do you want my mouth behind the microphone?
Well, here's the thing. I don't know if you know this yet or not.
Okay.
Do you know that there's a fan event going on in Disney World when we are going to be there?
Oh, no.
Hosted by Jim Hill.
Oh, goodness gracious.
He and his fine-tuning with, is it Drew Taylor?
Oh, man, I love Drew Taylor.
They will be recording a live episode.
Really?
Doing a whole host of things in and around Disney World while we are there this November.
Oh my word.
I hope I got the date right.
Okay.
Right.
Well, boy,
Basically, what I
I'm
just
blushing.
did to Hank is I threw a complete monkey wrench in the plans that we've had for months now.
Yeah, I do love his shows, his podcasts, and I think we do a lot of our work here. I should use quotations.
Well, we're theme park journalists. Let's get
Yeah.
that straight.
Make it to looking up to those guys that do that stuff. That's pretty cool.
Absolutely.
What do we know? What days they're there and all that fun?
It's literally the weekend we're there.
Cool.
Let me pull it up. Actually, I have it on my phone.
Fantastic.
Save the articles, but
Connor, you should probably, while you're pulling it up, you should just give people a little bit of background on who Jim Hill is, so we're not just shouting into the void.
we've talked about
just as his background.
Yeah, we've talked about the Disney Dish podcast before. It's with Jim Hill and Len Testa. Len Testa is a gentleman. He's a gentleman and a scholar from touringplans.com and the unofficial guide to Disney World and Disneyland and stuff like that. But he's awesome, and he does this show with Jim Hill. And Jim Hill has about so many other podcasts. He has a Marvel podcast, a Star Wars podcast, a Universal podcast.
That he does not enjoy.
And he does not enjoy his co-host, and I guarantee that. And he also has a animation podcast where they cover all things animation. But he's been a theme park and pop, I guess you could say, a theme park and entertainment reporter for decades.
Yep.
Probably ever since the 70s and 80s. And he knows people at Disney like the back of his hand. And he just tells the most incredible stories about history, about what's coming, about what didn't come. And he's just a great storyteller. And he seems like an awesome dude. And like Hank said, I think a lot of what he and Len do on the Disney Dish podcast, and then also what Jim does on his other podcasts, something that Hank and I listen to every week, and then that we try and emulate here on the WDW Opinion podcast. You gotta have heroes. You gotta have people to look up to. They're definitely two of ours.
Absolutely.
So he will be there November 9th through the 11th, through the 12th.
Fun.
Oh my God.
This is real time. This is live entertainment.
They're staying at the Coronado.
Interesting. Well, that's
Monday.
funny because I just before we went on the air. I was really that's where we're gonna be.
Monday, 8 a.m. Informal goodbye breakfast at Pepper Market.
Okay, there we go. We'll be there. We'll have to be up pretty early.
Wow, they got a lot of cool things planned.
Well, it's funny because we were talking about this thing beforehand because Coronado Springs is going to be a little bare this fall for anyone that visits there. So a little tip for you all: stay away from Coronado Springs in the next couple months because the dig site will be under construction. The tower is going to be
the dig site, which isn't the name of the construction site. It's the name of
Let me fill that in. The dig site. That's the name of the pool that will be a dig site for the next 6 months. And that tower is going to be a mess. There's going to be that property is going to be a big old dig site.
We'll bring you live construction updates, though.
Yeah, we'll try our best.
We sure will. But with all that said, let's get into the show. It's time for News to Opinion. This is our weekly segment where we each pick a Disney news story from the past week to discuss and share our thoughts and opinions on. My Disney news story of the week is that Conservation Station and Rafiki's Planet Watch will close permanently in October.
No!
There's the one person crying out. Rumors have been swirling around the Disney community for the past couple of days regarding Rafiki's Planet Watch moving to seasonal operation. This is the Diz reporting on this, just learned that cast members of both Conservation Station and Rafiki's Planet Watch were told this morning that the locations would be closing permanently on October 21st, 2018. The characters who have meet and greets in the area of the park, Doc McStuffins and Rafiki, will stop appearing on September 29th. We are unable to confirm at this time what will be taking their places at Disney's Animal Kingdom. So it's still, in a way, a rumor, because anything's a rumor that hasn't been confirmed by Disney themselves, hasn't come out with a press release or a blog post or things like that, but people have said, the cast members that work there have said, I don't have a job after this date. Now, overall, this has been a rumor for a while about Rafiki's Planet Watch closing. If you don't know Rafiki's Planet Watch, it is an Animal Kingdom, and to get to it, you have to go to the Africa land in Animal Kingdom. And right before you go on the Pangani Forest Exploration Trail, where you see the gorillas, you veer to the right, and you actually take a train to Rafiki's Planet Watch. This is the place that they have petting zoos, character meet and greets. They have a lot of educational things in there. And then on certain days of the week, I believe it's it used to be Wednesdays, you could watch animals from the Animal Kingdom during their veterinary appointments and things like that.
Yep.
It was always an interesting land, a very Disneyland, in that Disney, land, where you had to get on a method of transportation within a park. You had an attraction to get you to there. It was interesting. I'll say this about Rafiki's Planet Watch. The train ride was my favorite part. Then once you get there, it was kind of like,
ooh, why'd I come all the way out here?
Yeah, there's a reason I only do this once or twice or whatever. I think the big thing here is these rumors have been swirling for quite a while that it would be going away, and there have been plenty of rumors of a potential new land that could be replacing this. We've heard the land of Wakanda, Black Panther, but then incorporating that train and keeping that train so that you can get there. We've also heard of Zootopia. In the film Zootopia, Judy Hopps, the bunny, gets to the big city by going on a train.
Oh, you know what? I didn't even put that together. That's pretty interesting.
It is interesting, but the train acts for two purposes. One, to get you there because it's a little further away.
Yeah.
Because the Planet Watch is in the back where the animals are so that they can bring in the animals to do their veterinary procedures on them and whatnot. Yep. But it also acts as a way to hide you from the backstage areas. You still see some backstage areas, but the train isn't like a normal train where it's, kind of rows, if you will, like you're seated on the bus or something. It actually is just 3 levels of rows that just look out one way. And then the back of you is all covered with a wall. Reason being, everything behind you is considered backstage, and it's just buildings non-themed out in the open. So there's a lot more than people who are just like, oh, they just put Zootopia there. There's a lot more moving pieces to this that have to be done. And if it is well, you have to take a train to get there, then I think it's going to have to be a train like we see the Hogwarts Express at Universal. Fully enclosed so that you don't see the backstage areas. Windows with animations and things like that. But
this is like a real train. It's not the cable car thing that they do.
Exactly. Yeah, this is like basically it's like the Walt Disney World Railroad.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot. If you think about how many people, the Hogwarts Express has a lot of people in motion. Like the hourly capacity of the thing is insane. Yeah, because of how many people are on that railway at a time, alternating between that middle section. But yeah, there's some interesting capacity questions that come into question with that. Boy, they do have so much room back there in that corner of the park, though. That's the thing that you start to realize, though.
But think about adding in one of these new big lands. If it is a Wakanda, if it is a Zootopia, think about how crazy it is to get into Toy Story Land. Think about how crazy it is to get into Pandora. Having to facilitate everyone and put them on a train first, it would just be an absolute nightmare.
If they tried to do Wakanda with some type of like funnel like that, I mean, people would die trying to get into there. It would be insane. I mean, people are talking about Star Wars, you know? I mean, it is going to be insane. People will die trying to get into Galaxy's Edge. But when you think about what Wakanda would be and the fervor that's built up around that right now, oh, God, I can't even imagine.
And like Hank was saying, the hourly capacity on the Hogwarts Express, which is the train that goes between the 2 Wizarding Worlds of Harry Potter, Hogsmeade and Islands of Adventure at Universal Orlando, and between Diagon Alley in Universal Studios at Universal Orlando.
Right.
That has such a high capacity, but the crazy part about that is it's not a requirement to get into either of those 2 lands.
That is a $50 train ride, a $70 train ride essentially.
And even though that added price tag of getting a park-to-park ticket, which is required to go on that train, they still have to have so much involved in facilitating getting this.
Interesting. That's another wrinkle in that. Yeah, fun times.
Fun times, a lot of potential, but who really knows what's going to replace it, if anything at all?
Yeah, I don't think we know. Well, that'll take me on to my news to opinion for the week. We're going to dive into this one quite some bit. But Walt Disney World Resort has introduced date-based ticket pricing, different than what we've heard in the past to other single-day ticket seasonal pricing. Anyways, this is from the Diz. Beginning in October 16th, 2018, Walt Disney World's single-day pricing and multi-day tickets will be priced by the date guests intend to visit. That's the new part. The multi-day ticket pricing will be based on the day of your arrival. When ready to purchase tickets, guests will use a new interactive online calendar, which Disney put some interesting videos out this week for that, which will display the different pricing based on the dates the guests choose. Additionally, the calendar will state a specific time period when those tickets will need to be used by. Guests who purchase a one-day ticket will only be able to use it on the start date they selected. So, Connor, where do we start?
It's a lot. I mean, I think what we start is with, a tale as old as time. Every single year, Disney ticket prices will go up by a few bucks, and people scream and cry even though it's a couple dollars.
Yeah. The annual pass people take the brunt of that.
Yeah. But a few years back, they went to this kind of tiered like pricing.
Right.
And there was a premium put on Magic Kingdom. Magic Kingdom was always going to be a couple bucks extra than every other place. But it was almost like seasonal. So it was like this time, this park costs this much, yada, yada, yada. But that was only for 1 day tickets, right?
Right.
Once you added on a second day, once you added on the park hopper component, that all went right out the door, and it was just the price that you paid was the price that you paid. Here now, what they're doing is you can have a different price. The premium is first going away, so all the parks will be the same. But what happens is you can have a different price if your vacation starts on a Monday compared to a Friday. And I mean, I think you see this already in almost every vacation thing that you do, whether it's flights or hotels.
Yep.
All around the world, tickets on a Friday and returning on a Sunday are going to be more than tickets going on a Monday, coming back on a Thursday or something like that. So what Disney is trying to do here is take the hordes of people that are coming at very busy times and just spread it out more. So there won't ever be these more super, super slow times of the year, I don't think.
Oh, gosh, those days are gone.
But those days were gone already, some would argue.
Oh, yeah.
And the big thing here is that Disney is just trying to make a more even layer, as even as they possibly can.
Yeah, that's the one thing, I start to look at this, and they are looking for... in an ideal world, and it makes it easier for their operations too, is that any given day you walk in that park and you know exactly what the wait times and everything is going to be shaped like. It's controlled chaos all the time. I mean, that they're going to have this thing, it's easy to say that, and it's nearly impossible to predict it, but they've got a lot of data and a lot of learnings over the past 50 years. They're getting this thing really ironed out. That's why, these slow seasons are gone. That's not profitable to Disney. Back in the 90s when you could go there in September and there'd be, no one in the park. That's not an efficient way to run a business.
No. That's why you have these events that they do. Disney is very, very unlike other theme parks in the world in that they're not seasonal based. Your average regional theme park in America runs from almost
let's be honest, amusement park
parks, yeah. Memorial Day to Labor Day with a couple weekends thrown in here or there. But Disney runs year round, and in order for them to do that, they have to entice people to come during those times when others might not be able to. I will say this, I think it will be more rigid. There will be less flexibility on certain points because you basically have to plan what days you will be in the parks. So let's say you arrive on a Monday, but you're not going to go into the park on a Monday. Well, then you have to pick the Tuesday or the Wednesday, whatever day you're going to go into the park. And that bases your things. It sounds very confusing. I think we have to dive into it first before, we can comment if it is very confusing or not so much, but there will be opportunities to change that as you go down the line. As your plans progress, and if you want to change it, you'll be able to change your dates in the parks. There might be a fee, to upgrade or whatever, but that opportunity will be available to you. But I think one of the big things is if you're a family of 5 or something like that, and you have dates, and then all of a sudden you realize, oh, if we show up a day earlier and we leave a day sooner, we could save $25 on everyone's ticket per day. Well, that's a significant savings.
Yeah.
Because what this is the day you first go, that's the price that you're locked in for.
Right. And and then you fold in locals and annual pass holders and all that type of thing that, are going to be there on the weekend anyways. You're right. You're spreading You're spreading the sauce evenly throughout the entire year.
You got to spread that pizza sauce and that Disney pizza pie, eh?
Or you're gonna burn the, you're gonna burn the crust.
Don't burn the crust, huh?
Run 2 trains instead of 3 trains on the track.
Oh God, no. That's too much. That's too efficient. This says you can also purchase a ticket with a flexible start date. So
Probably for a bigger price.
Yep. So it seems like it's going to be an added park hopper option, basically.
It's an interesting time. I mean, it's the same. We'll try to refrain from that same discussion every year, but I mean, it is that time of year where you have to have the talk about Disney ticket prices. But it does make you wonder when you see people complain, like the iPhone comes out every year, and it's oh God, can you believe the iPhone's $1,000 this year? Can you believe the most expensive iPhone is $1,500 this year? And now, people are like, oh, I'm never going to buy an iPhone again. Can't believe it. I'm done with Apple. Can't believe it. The number one selling phone on the market right now is the $1,250 option iPhone. It's not even the base one.
No.
So it's these companies that are, taking advantage of it. When do they reach that bubble? They're going to keep testing until, the numbers are dropping. There's no reason for them to stop now. We'll keep showing up.
Well, in today's day and age, too, the people that are complaining, like, my God, a $1,200 cell phone, the people that have the voices aren't necessarily the people that are dictating what the market wants.
Very true. And you see what the market wants right now at Disney. There's no reason that they can't raise the prices based on how full the parks are all year round.
And here's this other thing. You hear people who are complaining and things like that. We had this customer service training at work that I sat in on, and I brought up a point that I was like, they were like, well, we always hear these complaints and then things don't get done, And I said, well, no one calls customer service to say, hey, I just want to let you know I had an incredible experience. Nothing went wrong. I just want to tell you, job well done. No, they call.
What though, Connor?
Yeah.
I hang on. I do wait when I make my calls to Disney, and I stay on the line and I answer all 4 of those questions, and I hit 55555.
Right, but it's not like.
No, I know what you're saying.
Out of the blue, they're
I just want to be a good Samaritan.
Absolutely, I'm right there with you. Take those surveys when you call Disney. It helps the cast members.
5 is a perfect score, by the way, for those of you playing along at home.
On a scale of 1 to 5, with 1 being not acceptable, the people that you're hearing. Just because you're hearing them doesn't mean they're voicing. They are the voice of the majority.
Right. The majority are the people that pack the park full to capacity for 3 weeks straight in December every year.
The almost 20 million people that go to Magic Kingdom every year. Those are the
insane.
majority.
That's insane.
I think one other thing to focus on is that they have announced that with this, a new online vacation planning destination in DisneyWorld.com will debut as well.
Ooh.
Hank, I read a tweet the other day that said we've basically been in beta testing with My Disney Experience for the last 5 years. And it was kind of funny because we have bad experiences with My Disney Experience all the time. We had one this weekend.
I'll tell you what. When I hear that, though, that is like kind of welcoming. Because it does feel like a beta product if you're using it. It is buggy enough. It is very powerful. It's a beta. Very powerful, loaded with bugs.
Yeah. And this says, DisneyWorld.com will feature park offering overviews, travel tips from Disney Parks Moms panelists, which, to bring up a previous episode, just want to let everyone know, I have not heard back yet on my submission to the Disney Parks Moms panel.
Maybe you can ask Jim Hill for a letter of rec when you get down there.
That'd be awesome. So I'll let you know if I hear anything. But then it also will offer you suggestions based on your personal preferences. I think that's good. I think that website always needed that. Like, hey, there's no reservation for this restaurant. You might enjoy this restaurant.
Yep.
But it does only say DisneyWorld.com, so I don't think this will be rolling out to My Disney Experience. I think it'll be 2 different arms still. Like, it's where you buy your stuff and then where you plan your stuff, where you continue to plan. It's a big change. for sure. It's a big change.
Big time.
But only time will tell.
Time will tell. I can't wait for that faster, non-glitchy app to just be rolling into my phone.
Let's hope to God it comes soon. Today's middle segment is Start a Rumor. This is the segment where, as the name implies, we start a rumor of something cool we think should come to the parks. Our hope is that our fabricated rumors build enough traction to eventually reach someone in a position that can actually make it happen. Here, we are playing Armchair Imagineer. Now, a disclaimer before we start. These are totally fabricated rumors. We know nothing. In fact, we probably know less than nothing, if that's possible. These are just ideas we made up that we think would be cool if it came to the parks. With all that said, let's get into it. Hank, have you heard any good rumors lately?
Oh, Connor, I heard a good one. This is one that I hope the Imagineers don't hear. This is something that I hope doesn't make it all the way to the park.
Oh, this is an interesting spin.
Yeah, I don't know. Listen, I was very surprised when I heard this rumor from me. I surprised myself with this that I made up. I hope it doesn't make it in, but then there's that little dark side of me where I'm like, you know what? That should be that way.
Mm-hmm.
Connor, word on the street is that in Epcot World Showcase, they're going to start limiting Magic Bands to 2 beverages per hour. Two per every 2 hour.
Who told you that?
I'm telling you, they're having.
You told yourself that?
Yeah.
What kind of sick
I'm sorry,
freak
I
would
messed
that
up.
pop
I
in
messed
their
up the
head?
rumor. It's 2 beverages every 2 hours. So if you wanted to pop back to back, you could still get a couple within an hour. But they are trying to cut back on
2
the
beverages every hour?
2 beverages every 2 hours. Look, I have this already.
So 1 beverage every hour.
Basically. But if you're at a dinner and you wanted back-to-back beverages, you could have, 2. They're not going. Point is they're not over-serving you.
That's messed up.
I know. Due to the recent rise in publicity for drinking around the world.
Alex Morgan did this.
Yeah.
This is what you're telling me? America's Sweetheart? America's Princess?
Yeah. Disney has had it, and all the bad press that rolled out, not bad press, gosh. All the press that came out around Disneyland opening up alcohol, they're thinking that it might be a good idea to start limiting the amount of drinks that some of these people that are there to just overserve themselves in the World Showcase. No word yet on how they'll handle wine samplings.
Oh, boy. What is it? Is it we're adding more alcohol to the parks, or we're taking it away from people?
We're going to add more to,
add more to take it away.
Yeah, just to take it away.
What's next? They're going to limit my trips to the buffet?
I'm telling you, Connor, they want to control that image of it not being this drunken debauchery where these people are going down for bachelor parties and stuff.
What a bunch of idiots.
Who would do that?
That sounds pretty pathetic, if we're being honest.
Don't look at our show list.
Listen to the previous show, episode 12. You'll find out more.
Yeah, Disney trying to clean up the image of the World Showcase, and they're going to do it by limiting drinks 2 for every 2 hours per Magic Band. So you can still find your way around. You can find your way around it, but
what if you use credit card?
When there's that low barrier, no, you got to swipe the Magic Band now.
Oh, now you have to buy a Magic Band when you
enter.
It's like a zing. Yikes.
Yeah. Where's on your card? You know what? Listen, this guy came up and he whispered it to me, and real weird guy.
Yeah. What was his name?
Something. It started with an H. I don't know.
Menry Holsky?
Yeah, I think that sounds right.
Menry Holsky.
I'm telling you, we're on the bleeding edge of this rumor, so only scarce details are available. But basically, Disney has had it with the overserving in the World Showcase, and you heard it here first. They're going to cut it down.
Do you think in actual World's Fairs, people just would get hammered?
Yes. So this is the way I see it, like Mad Men hammered, where you get professionally hammered on Manhattans and Old Fashions and that type of thing. where it's how long can you keep all your buttons, how tight can you keep your tie throughout the evening type of thing.
Right. Well, if you're an alcoholic, I guess you could say you're always professionally drunk.
Exactly. So,
So,
yes, that's how I imagine the World's Fair, is everyone's like trying to get blitzed, but,
Right.
keeping the buttons up.
Right. GE's talking to Ford.
Right.
Pepsi comes in, and then the guy that made the waffle cone comes, and then Mr. Ferris comes, and he's talking everyone's ear off about his big wheel, his big Ferris wheel, and Thomas Edison just wants to get away from everyone. Well, that's the worst rumor I've ever heard. So,
Thanks.
Thank you for that.
Hey, if it was at either end of the spectrum, I think I did a stellar job picking that one up off the street.
Now, my rumor that I told myself to me, from me, for me, that has popped into my head just minutes before we took to the air, is basically a rumor where all the stars align, right?
Oh no.
Disney is well on its way to acquiring 21st Century Fox and all of its assets. Disney, we believe, is also well on its way to kicking the Marvel clause that Universal has, that they're able to license certain Marvel characters in their theme parks east of the Mississippi. Disney is well on its way to taking over that clause.
All right.
And because of that, they've also been sitting back on their heels while, yes, Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party at the Magic Kingdom is great. It's great for families. It's great for young kids. It's great for adults, too. But for some 26 years now, Disney has watched as Halloween Horror Nights at Universal has just gotten bigger and bigger and badder and better. Badder, like...
And stranger.
Badder, like, that's bad.
Yeah.
Michael Jackson bad. And,
Yes.
Thriller. It's just gotten to a whole new level of, it's not Halloween season, it's Halloween Horror Night season. And droves of people, and especially locals in Orlando, flock to Universal in the fall time. They get their Halloween Horror Nights season pass, and Disney's just watching all this money go to waste. But not anymore.
Okay.
Because they're taking Marvel, and they're taking Fox, and they're taking this incredible, awesome, adult-oriented character in Deadpool. And he's coming to the parks.
Oh, boy.
In fact, he's getting his own dedicated party at night, daytime and nighttime,
Oh, okay. Daytime.
in their own dedicated land
Huh?
at Hollywood Studios. But here's the kicker. They've tried this in the past, and it's worked to a certain extent, and people want to see it come back. Pleasure Island, at a certain time,
Oh, yeah.
you had to be 21 or over to get in, and you get a wristband. That's how you get into this land. And anything and everything rated R goes on here. Not anything. Wait, I take that back.
Okay,
There's just
take it back.
there's cursing, and there's a lot of gore and
Interesting. I
funny
like that.
jokes and
I think
alcohol.
I think in your perfect scenario, you're also going to have to hope that Bob Iger is retired by that point.
Eden's probably right. That's probably
Yeah,
true.
considering he doesn't want any R-rated content on the streaming service, I think we got to add that to the equation.
But I think that's a
That's probably not him.
no, that might be him. I think that's just a way to tap an untapped market of streaming stuff. There's no like dedicated family streaming thing, you know.
Yeah.
So that's why they're still making plenty of money on their Marvel stuff on Netflix and stuff like that, you know.
And every one of those movies is PG-13.
Exactly. Well, no, I mean like Luke Cage, definitely TVMA. Daredevil,
Right.
Jessica Jones.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Punisher.
Netflix too. Yeah. Gotcha.
So yeah, Deadpool. He's getting his own event. rival Halloween Horror Nights.
X-Men
Now,
might show up.
X-Men will probably show up. Cable will show up,
Yep.
All the baddies.
Can't have them get too close to Thanos, though, because then it might be a double of,
There's a lot of stuff that,
Because, those characters, Josh Brolin can't play them both.
Star-Lord's father can't go near the Miracle U.S. National Hockey Team exhibit at Disney. Just get a little weird. He doesn't go to the All-Star Sports Resort where they have one picture of that movie there. Continuity. There's a lot of moving pieces, but it's going to be pretty sweet. What do you think about that?
Can't wait.
Well,
I'll go. I'll buy a ticket.
That's great. Too bad none of this is happening because these are all fabricated rumors that we just made up. Sorry about that. There are so many reasons we love Disney World. And when you're asked to explain why you love it, you often use words like fun, magical, cool, and awesome. While all these words work, what really makes Disney World so great, and the main reason Hank and I love it so much, is because of the specifics. The details and the items that make up the world are the reason we love it so. So that's the purpose of this segment. To go land by land, attraction by attraction, resort by resort, and break down why we love each of these places so. In this recurring segment we hope to have, our first focus has to do with a land that, while it hasn't been here for too long, is already one of our favorites. So Hank, why do you love Pandora, the world of Avatar?
Gonna try to stay away from that dangerous word that we use far too often on this podcast for a little while.
Intellectual property.
Well, not that one.
Oh, sorry.
What else do we overuse? Yeah, probably everything.
I say Incredible a lot whenever I edit the podcast.
Yeah.
I wasn't even talking about The Incredibles.
I was going to try to steer away from the immersive experience that Disney is after. But it is, yes, there's that. So I'm going to steer away from that. I enjoy Pandora. Crap. I start to form the sentence in my head, and I'm like, immersive, because it's immersive. And it's like, it's a mind trap. No, there's something about being over there in that corner of the park. It folds so well into the rest of Animal Kingdom. And Connor, I talked to you about this earlier in the day, that, it just feels like it's always been there to me. And that's something that is really cool that you can't say too often about an area of a park at Disney that is state-of-the-art, brand new, and yet it feels right at home.
Yeah, that's perfect. You hit the nail on the head. Feels right at home. And, I think what we want to do with this segment, why we love ... segment, is we want to really dive into the specifics of a central place, right? So like a land, or like an attraction, or like a resort. And it's kind of like the sum equals the whole,
Yep.
So there's this overarching thing of, oh yeah, Disney World is magical, and to use the word, it is immersive, it is fun.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But the reason it is all of those things is how it's made up, the pieces of it. And to focus on Pandora, I think it's the first one that we're doing this segment for, is perfect, because there's so many aspects of it that in itself add up to the land that just kind of reiterate why Disney is so great,
Correct.
So because of that, we're just going to take a deep dive into the place. We're going to say what we love about it, how it all works together. We'll go through the attractions, the food, the merchandise. But I think to start with it, we really do need to comment on Animal Kingdom I think it's the most well-themed theme park in Florida of the Disney parks, right?
Yeah.
When it comes to details and layout and things like that. So the Imagineers had a daunting task in they had to keep that going with Pandora, the world of Avatar. And you see that in the design and how you're led into the area as well.
Right.
It slowly starts to change as you transition from the other lands, like, oh gosh, what's the main hub?
Discovery Island.
As you transition from Discovery Island into it, you start to notice, the soft melodic music is going away, and all of a sudden you start hearing these creatures, and it gets a lot louder, but the loudness is made up by like living creatures, right? Yeah. Tying that back in Animal Kingdom.
And it varies certain times of the day too.
Yeah, which is another one of those aspects of you're entering a living world.
Yep.
Which that's what it comes down to. When everyone said, oh, this isn't fit in Animal Kingdom because it's not animals. Animal Kingdom was about living things. Right. Real or unreal. It's about living things, and that's what Pandora does so well. And you notice it as soon as you start walking into it.
Yeah, I think I like the way that you're taking people into this area, through this description, because it makes you sit back and realize what a unique experience that Pandora will be and still offer compared to when Galaxy's Edge opens, because everyone's talking about the next immersive experience that's going to be in the park that's totally going to change the way that you interact, and you're going to be. When it comes down to it, you're going to be hypersensitive to everything that's going on there, collecting tokens or, how you behave on the ride, the characters you interact with. There's going to be a lot going on in the best way. I'm not bad-mouthing Galaxy's Edge. But when you talk about walking into Pandora, you're just experiencing it, the stakes are low, but the theming is high, and you're just really immersing yourself.
It's like when you immerse yourself in one of the pavilions at Epcot, which I'm sure we'll dive into on one of these.
Yeah, we'll have to pick one of them.
We'll have to pick,
many of them.
A couple of them. But it's like you have the preconceived notions you have are just, I know that country, what it's about. You're literally just going in there to experience it, right? Yeah. It's not like, I got to see this character, I got to do this. You're just going in to experience it. And one of the big things in Disney World theme park design is this idea of weenies. Like, it weans you into an area. Mm-hmm. And
that's fun. Whenever I think about that, I think of the World Showcase and those parks back there, because that's exactly, every time I think of that, I think of that.
It weans you. You just see, you're like, oh, well, that's the next thing. Let's go over there. Pandora does this in a unique way in that you kind of see it from outside the park. I don't think you're supposed to, but something's there, right?
You can't tell it's floating, You can see like the mountain range, but you can't tell that it's something spectacular underneath it. And
I think the other aspect of like Disney theme park design that's so well is the big reveal. And I think the perfect part of this is Magic Kingdom, right? When you're on the boat or the monorail going to Magic Kingdom, you can see the weenie. You can see Cinderella's castle pulling you in. But then once you get off and you go through you used to go through security. When you go through security, when you go through the turnstiles and then you go under the train station, you don't see anything. But then once you get on the other side of that, boom, the big reveal. You see that. And the Imagineers did this perfectly, because as you enter the land, at the very end, you take like a quick right turn, boom.
Mountains.
They did a natural reveal in that way,
See, that's what I'm talking about. It just feels right.
But it's one of those things where you're like, how do you go in there? And you're an Imagineer, you're Joe Rohde, and you're like, okay, well, everyone's going to walk in this way, and then they're going to turn right and look at it, and that's going to be the reveal. Like, how does that just pop into your head?
Right.
It's incredible.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just builds into this atmosphere of things you've never seen before, Like
the sight lines are just incredible through there. I mean, and this is the other thing, if you haven't been to Pandora, or you have, there's just these like rolling hills and bridges and turns and dips and dives. There's so many unique angles that you're just able to capture through there. There's reveals. There's these weenies all over the place. You always find yourself kind of just straining your neck to see what's around the next corner. Like, I think that's Pongu Pongu up there. I think, okay, yes. There's the water fountain. There's it bleeds into each other.
And, I think the sightlines also, you have these pops of color. So your eyes are just drawn to these vivid blues and these greens and these like browns on the rocks and things like that. And your eye just goes from spot to spot to spot to spot. And, it kind of starts painting the picture and you see everything all coming together. And it just feels right. Like, it's crazy that we keep saying that. Like, it feels right. Like, it's a man-made thing. But it feels right. It feels natural. It feels alive.
And you know what? And this is the neat thing about it, and this is the perfect way to go into our next bullet point, is that, Connor, I feel like we're talking about it through one lens, and then, boom, you shift it, nighttime, game changes. Whole thing, you got to re-talk the whole area.
And then it's all because when you go in at night, everything changes. All the plants that you saw during the day, the paths that you walked on, the flowers that you saw they now light up and they're bright with these bioluminescent lights. And the water is blue and you can see the water like light up and things like that. And
this isn't just uplighting on the side of the castle. This is totally, totally different.
In the most natural way possible. It looks like at night these plants glow.
Yeah.
And I just love that Disney did this because we talked about on a few episodes back about how we love going to the theme parks during the holidays because it transforms a park. We loved going to Food and Wine because
good point.
Transforms Epcot from what it normally is to this other world. Day and night, I love going to Pandora in the day, and then I love going to it at night because it's two totally different places, and you get two totally different experiences from it.
Yeah, I mean, it's to the point now where you don't go. I mean, you make a point to go to Animal Kingdom at different times. Like, you have to plan it that way. You we got to go at night. We got to make sure that it's on our schedule that day, so we check it out at nighttime. It's totally different now because you got to see Pandora at night. It's different.
And that never used to be the way for me.
Oh my God! I mean, even if you think about it, I mean, what was like the standard closing time? A decade ago.
Oh,
6?
like 6 o'clock. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like a zoo, but it was not the zoo.
Not the zoo. So it was one of these things where this land itself made you like systematically rethink how you tour this theme park.
Yeah.
Which is crazy, but it's true. It's very, very true. And I felt that I haven't had enough time just to explore the details of it yet. I feel like it's still very busy in there and stuff, but on my next few trips, I'm trying to make that a kind of like a priority to go in there and not do anything but explore and just kind of see all the nooks and crannies that I can. But I know going into it, this is a land where I won't experience everything it has to offer in the details for decades. Probably never, because there's so much.
Yeah.
But
go
but
for
the
it,
big
Connor.
tickets, the reason so many people are coming is for their two incredible theme park rides, attractions.
And listen to that, Connor. It's interesting. I'm leaning back as I'm thinking of this because I'm throwing my hands up in the air. But you've got we just spent all that time, gushing over the artwork of the area and that type of thing. But even on our trip, we're still gonna queue up and bust through that area on a Saturday morning at 7:30 a.m. because the ride is so freaking badass.
Yeah, I think
screw the mountains, screw all that, screw this. The past 10 minutes of the show, we're gonna haul ass in there and ride the best ride in Orlando.
So for our trip coming up in November, we have several people who have never been before. So what I picture us doing is basically saying, just follow us, all right? So we'll
Make sure
go
you
in
look
there
around.
as soon as it opens. All right, these are the floating mountains. We'll see these in a second. Get in line, go.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
we'll just run in the line.
And then we'll be done by like 8:55 since they let you in there so early.
And then we'll have plenty of time to explore all the details.
Yeah.
But the first ride attraction that we're talking about, of course, is Avatar Flight of Passage, which for me right now is my favorite ride in the entire world.
I would have a hard time coming up with a better answer than that.
Like
know?
you have your favorite rides, like your tried and true classics, like, you know.
Oh yeah, like I think our very first episode, favorite rides. You know, I picked Splash Mountain.
Yeah.
But then there's, you know, like what is the best ride?
What's the
like,
best ride exactly? This is the best ride right now.
I can't imagine anything gets better than this.
Well, we have yet to ride Fast and Furious Supercharged at Universal Orlando.
Oh boy, yeah. Hey, you know what? And to be fair, I mean,
Don't say it.
we have no Tron. We have not ridden Tron.
Okay, right. That's true.
Talk about totally different between night and day. That
Yeah.
thing looks sweet at nighttime.
So we'll let you know in 2020 or whatever it opens.
Oh, what do you mean? You're not going to Shanghai next year?
No. My visa's. I'm not allowed back in the country.
Every time I look at, like, I see these international parks that I so
God.
badly want to go to,
Yeah.
and you know they've got those rides that we can't go on. I make a comment to my wife or something, and we go. I'm like, oh man, I'd love to go to Hong Kong, or like, oh man, I'd love to go to Shanghai, and she's like, you know, you're just saying that because there's a Disney park there. I'm like, well, yeah, but have you seen Tron?
I'd love to go to Paris. Oh,
Yeah.
Disneyland Paris?
There you go.
The Eiffel Tower and Rue de Claire and yeah. It is funny. I was just thinking about that the other day, actually.
And someone would be
Tokyo.
like, so many people in the world today would be like, why would you waste your time when you're in Paris going to Disneyland? I'm like, because I can't do that stuff here. I can't go on that Space Mountain.
Yeah. Also, Disneyland Paris is the most visited tourist attraction in all of Europe. So I think that says a lot.
So suck on that,
Just
people.
saying.
Haters.
Haters gonna hate. So one thing I think to keep in mind with this whole land, and I think they do a very good job of it through the attractions, through the restaurants, through the theming, is this relationship in Pandora of a relationship between the wild, the native Na'vi of Pandora, and humans. So you see these storylines of the RDA, the mining company that came in and was mining for, this is true, unobtainium.
Yeah.
Unobtainium.
Brilliant, James Cameron. Brilliant.
And basically destroyed like the natural landscape of Pandora. And then the Na'vi, the blue people, blue 9-foot tall people, were fighting them for very, very long.
Mm-hmm.
So because of that, where you are, you see that relationship, right? You see the floating mountains. You see the things that the Na'vi built in these sculptures and wicker things. And then you also see buildings like what we're going to talk about in a little, Satuli Canteen, which was the mess hall for RDA. You'll see old mining equipment. You'll see old buildings, old hangars from RDA.
The guy walking around in the giant metal suit.
With the fake legs.
What do you mean?
Yeah, you'll see the people working there still have like RDA things on because time has passed and RDA is now good and they're working for, or not good.
They're gone. Yeah,
they're gone.
Now it's the
people Alpha
something
Centaurian
conservation
Expeditions, ACE, and then the
ACE,
Pandora
yeah.
Conservation Fund or whatever.
Yeah.
So you see that relationship, and you see that history, and like Hank was alluding to at the beginning of the segment, it's like a place that has existed forever, and you see
Yes.
that backstory, and you see that it has been around for a while, even if technically it just opened up a couple years ago. A year ago, really. A couple years, two now.
Yeah, and it's all over the place. And I think everything culminates. It all adds up to Flight of Passage. If you look at every single aspect of Pandora, like if you really were on a speed trip, You get the full Pandora experience when you do Flight of Passage. That's another reason people rush in there to do that thing. You get the immersive mountains. You go through the Valley of Moara and the queue. You go inside. You see the cave. You see the paintings. You see the weavings from the giant 9 feet tall people. You go through like a tiny little bioluminescent forest area. You see RDA and all their cool experience. You get the super cool 9-foot animatronic thing in the line for this thing of a giant avatar or a Na'vi, and then you get one of the best rides in the world. I mean, it's got everything. It's got the tech. It's got the everything.
And this queue is awesome because for the last, I'd probably say, decade, with every new ride that Disney builds, they're trying to make their queues more experiential, right?
Yeah.
And I prefer these sorts of queues, like the Expedition Everest sorts of queues, where there's just so much to look at, not necessarily to touch or to experience or games to play, but things where you're going to be part of the story and you can see the story, the narrative that they're trying to weave. And this is that exact example. This is a perfect example of that.
Connor, what are you talking about? I love spinning a barrel of diamonds with no consequence or meaning.
Except that you're holding up the line for everyone.
Yeah.
Seven
And making this
train.
some stupid bell jingle in an alleyway with no theming on the walls.
I actually saw a tweet that they had turned off
What?
something in the queue for Seven Dwarfs Mine Train.
That's what we're talking about, folks. There's some weird interactivity in that line.
Spinning barrels, weird water fountains, I don't know.
Probably something to do with the launch of Play Disney.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. They trademarked that Play Disney, and then they came out with... Isn't that like going to be the name of their streaming service too? Like the streaming service is Play Disney, and then like the park one is like Disney Play. So bear with us.
I don't think they ended up calling it that. Might be called Disney Play.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, I don't think they can do that.
No, there's no way. Not with how big they want that Disney Play thing to be.
No. Or is it Play Disney Parks?
There you go. That's your distinguishing factor.
Play Disney Parks, Disney Play. I'd love to have that problem. There's just so many.
Yeah.
Can't wait for that 3 Men and a Baby remake.
No, let's go to the
Coming
other
out
ride.
of
We
Disney
can't forget the other ride, Connor.
Well, let's just talk about the ride itself, about of Flight of Passage, of when you get on the ride. There's this whole process involved of lining up, of a couple pre-shows, and it is
You got no idea how high or low you are. You're going up and down and up and down in this queue.
This is the longest queue experience, even if you have a fast pass, by far. And that's just because it's like a theater-based ride. So they load a bunch of people, and then they hold them there for, the duration of the ride, the 5 to 6 minutes that it lasts. And it's the most it's the closest thing you'll ever get to flying, I think.
Yeah.
In today's day and age.
Right, until in 2 more years. Something better.
Years, yeah. But I think it's just the perfect ride from start to finish. If it wasn't, and it's a double-edged sword because it's so incredible, the line will be long for a very, very, very long time.
Yeah, and like you're saying, great queue.
Great queue. On the other hand, Na'vi River Journey, not the best queue.
Not the best queue. Especially when you get all the elements, and this is what I'm talking about, why not the Flight of Passage is so good, is you get like the Na'vi weaving, and you get the Na'vi elements and everything, and then you just get like the little taste. You're in like a Na'vi hut over at Na'vi River Journey. It's all really cool stuff, but it's like, I got that over there. I already saw that.
But it's also almost like this part of the land, it's like the entire land is split in between native, and then as you work your way towards the right, it's
which is so well told.
RDA. Yeah. So when you're in line for Na'vi River Journey, you do see a couple, props and things that the Na'vi have created, But for most of it, you're over a thatched roof, but it's just a corral. Like, you're not going through anything. You're not really seeing anything.
No. Yeah.
You go through the line.
Yeah.
And then you load on the left, which I always find, like, super weird. Like, you load on the left and it goes to the left. But,
hey, you know, the toilets spin different on the Na'vi planet.
Na'vi.
And Pandora. Whoa, the toilets spin another way.
Whoa, the toilets, man. What is your overall feeling on this ride?
I can't decide. I really can't. I enjoy the low stakes aspect of it, and I like that they are just continuing on this journey that you're on a river. But then there are things that are, like, particularly frustrating, like some of the big quote unquote like show moments are still on a screen. It's really short, and I'll need to go on it again to get another good judgment on it. And Connor, I think you've been on it more than once, right?
Yeah, I've been on it, I think, 4 or 5 times now.
I enjoy how it moves nimbly, but there's a certain part of me that, do you get the feeling that you're, like, barely in the water at all on that thing? It doesn't feel very water ride-like to me. Like, it's so nimble and it's so track-driven that I'm kind of like, I feel like I'm on a conveyor belt. I feel like I'm on a conveyor belt.
Yeah.
Which is a strange sensation.
Yeah.
It's no Pirates of the Caribbean or Small World. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's also very, very tiny, very squished in that boat.
And this is why. So I criticize it, but I do like that animatronic. That is probably the most amazing animatronic in the entire world that you get to witness at the end of this.
At the very end, they have, like, a 9-foot tall Na'vi, the blue person. She's a shaman. I think it's a she. I don't even know if they have genders. She's playing a song, and Na'vi. I'll tell you what, that song gets stuck in your head real quick. Yeah. I will say this ride has definitely grown on me. At first, I got off of it, and I was like, that's crap. And then as I read it more, I'm like, oh, I kind of enjoy this. I do like this. What you can't do is compare it to Flight of Passage, and it shouldn't be compared to that.
No.
You know, there's a reason for this ride, and it serves its purpose. It's to eat up people, to eat up space. But I agree with Hank, and there's certain aspects where you're like, really? I think you could have done a little better. Like, Hank, when you're going through for the first time, or one of the very first things you see is that Na'vi on your right, and he's like a Na'vi warrior.
Yeah.
And he's just a statue.
Yeah.
Give me a robot, man. Throw in a freaking robot. Even if he's a...
Just turn his head.
Yeah, even if he's the papyrus robot or whatever it is. Or the Michelangelo robot. Does, like, one thing on the Sistine Chapel. And, you know? Like,
I thought you were going to the Pandora or Avatar, the movie, was written in the font Papyrus.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. I totally forgot about that. There you go. That's probably a Freudian slip there. They scrubbed
Papyrus from the park. Papyrus. And Joe Rohde was like, that is not coming in my park. No papyrus.
And that was a very funny Saturday Night Live skit.
Yeah, Ryan Gosling.
So, Na'vi River Journey, still a solid attraction.
Yeah, rock solid.
But now we have to talk about Hank's favorite attraction in all of Avatar, in all of Pandora, the world of Avatar. And it is Satuli Canteen.
Hey, I was worried you were going to make a joke about some type of merchandise. No. We do love Satuli Canteen. Disney has finally broken the mold. And that's the funny thing, is it's 2017, and it took a park that long to break.
It's 2018.
When the park opened.
Oh.
For Disney to break the mold of quick service and try something with a different flair. You know, they finally Chipotle'd a quick service.
Oh, yeah.
Which, God, that took a long time.
It did. It was interesting.
Yeah, because it was always, you were stuck with, some type of burger variation or, burgers, fries, pizza, hot dogs.
Chicken fingers, your sandwiches.
I can't.
You have good
Bill a little bit.
You have good platters and like Epcot and things like that, but it's still very you order off the menu and stuff like that. At Satuli Canteen, what you do is you go in and you basically pick your base, which is, rice or do they have beans? I don't think they have beans. Grains or like a combo of them, like a salad.
Yep.
You pick your meat. They have like steak and pork and chicken or tofu. And then you pick, your toppings and your sauce. And it comes to you in a bowl. And it is so tasty.
Yeah, it's really good food.
It just fills you up. And
highest rated quick service at Disney World.
And only a year. It's incredible. I will say, they did take away their breakfast, and I thought the breakfast was good.
Ooh, yeah, that was definitely one of the best things I've ever had I think I'm okay saying that. One of the best breakfast dishes I've had at Disney World was from there. Yeah, it was like pork belly hash. It was delicious.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay saying that. Yeah, one of the best things that I've had there was like that pork belly and sausage hash.
That was good.
They got to bring that back.
Yeah, I just think it's just not. It's too complicated in the beginning of the day. There's too many people rushing there to get on the ride, so it's like, can I just squeeze by you? I just got to get some pork belly hash, and everyone's like, no, you can't come this way.
Right.
So I understand. I do see where they're coming from, where it's a little complicated, in that regard. But
yeah, breakfast is hard enough in a park, anyways. Especially if there's no early magic hours. It's 9 o'clock already, and people are
you got to put your priorities in check, because it's one of those things of, if you show up to a park bright and early and the first thing you do is go and buy breakfast, probably not the best use of your time. You should probably hit the rides and then double back to the breakfast place and things like that. But Satuli Canteen does another great job of adding those elements of, you're in the old mess hall for the RDA, for the excavation group, or for the mining group. And there's those, you're sitting on these things that have clearly been carved out of that the Na'vi have clearly carved out, and Na'vi relics and things like that. And it just a perfect harmony of the two things. And one of my favorite attractions, watching the grill. There's a big open grill where a guy just is cooking all the chicken and beef.
I'm telling you, it is the perfect way to say it. Is they Chipotle their quick service, so you can see the chicken grill on the grill. You get to select your toppings. Everyone wants to. They got a good use of the app on that too, like Chipotle. But the other thing about that area is you can't go without mentioning the most Instagrammable dessert on property, that blueberry cheesecake.
Blueberry cheesecake looks like it's its own little space world, basically. It looks like it's outer space on a plate. Outer space on the plate.
And it's pretty good.
And it's great because Disney does a great job of taking flavors or presenting food in a way that's thematically correct, that fits in with it. Mm-hmm. But that is open, that the American palate can be open to. They do a great job of this at Jico and at Sanaa, where it's these international flavors, like African and Indian flavors, but it's not so over the top that people will be put out by this. And that's what they do at Satuli Canteen as well. It's it seems like it's from out of this world. It looks like it's from out of this world.
Yep.
But it tastes very familiar. A little different, but very, very tasty.
Yeah. And if you're thirsty, Connor, you can stroll outside to Pongo Pongo.
How are people going to be able to drink? Oh, I guess those are already paper straws. Never mind.
Animal Kingdom, bro.
The Animal Kingdom. They do have some cool drinks here. A couple frozen adult drinks. Another frozen drink that kind of looks like a leopard. It's pink, green, and pink, but they swirl it. So yeah.
I thought this is where you were going with your comment a second ago. Disney also does a great job at making these drinks and foods and stuff that fold right into some Instagrammable area around you, like the purple wall, the purple drink, and then here you've got this swirl of cheetah thing that you take in front of that moss wall.
Yeah, that is cool.
Yeah. It's all about getting your people to share.
But then there's also the Hog's Green Ale. Or Green Grog? Do they call it Grog?
Grogs.
Grogs.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's just green
There's the
beer.
Grog
It's
Ale.
tasty.
Something's Grog Ale.
But then they have another exclusive beer to Pandora, which is great. I love it.
Yeah.
But it's very
Connor, have you
tasty.
bought anything from their merchandise tent?
So it's
store?
called Wind Traders, and it is also the store that you exit through for Avatar Flight of Passage. I have not bought a single thing there. Seems like it has a lot of cool stuff. I think the main appeal that people go in there for is to go to the Banshee Rookery.
So genius.
So those banshees are the dragons that you fly on in the ride, and they have this like rookery, like of where these toy banshees all live, and you basically go up and pick out your banshee, and it's pretty incredible. It sits on your shoulder, and then it has this basically thing that it's connected to that you can put in your pocket or on your hand, and then you control your banshee on your shoulder.
Yeah,
So
so
you
you
can
look around and open its mouth, flap its wings.
Yeah. It's pretty incredible. They were sold out for months at the first time.
Yep.
When it first opened, it was basically like they got a batch, sold out. They got a batch, sold out. I will say there's one other thing in there that I think I might do this time, even though it takes a very long time.
Uh-oh.
I'm turning myself into an action figure.
Oh, I thought you were going to do the full bust. Oh, wait, no, that's not a thing in there, is it?
It's like you can buy that. I don't think you can get it as a bust.
Okay, what I was thinking, I think they did it for Zoe Saldana
Yes,
when they
yes,
opened
yes,
up
yes.
the park. That's
Yeah,
what I'm thinking of. They don't do that for everyone.
No.
No. Yes, but yes, action figure.
You can go, you can get a picture taken. They turn you into an avatar, which is the Navi, like Link, basically. So it kind of looks like you. And then they can turn that into an action figure for you that you buy. Very expensive. I think it's close to $200. But you know,
Oh boy.
I'm in it. Does annual pass get you anything? Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
I'll only take 2 then.
Get the back of the line, pal.
Back of the line, you idiot. But yeah, other than that, I mean, still well themed, but you know, I'm not gonna say that I'm jaded anytime an attraction dumps me out in a store, but it's always kind of like, yeah, it's fine. I'm not gonna buy anything here.
Right.
So, who knows? And you know, it's funny because the land itself is very small. You know, it is.
Yeah, you don't realize how small it is when you're in there.
Until you start to describe it and think about it, right? But I think because it goes so vertical with the mountains and your eyes go up, that just helps, you know.
You would never know how small that really is when you step in there.
No. But I don't know. I mean, we talk about this a lot, you know. Anytime we talk about it, we just start smiling. And anytime you're smiling when you talk about something, you clearly love it, you know.
Somehow Disney took this property that had no business being in a park, being good, being a Disney beloved adventure, and here we are. We just spent 30, 40 minutes on that.
And so why do we love Pandora, the world of Avatar? I think it's because it incorporates so much. It fits perfectly into Animal Kingdom because it combines animals with nature and nature with humans. It tells an incredible story. There's like a background to it, a backstory to it. It feels like it's been there forever. And then each experience that you go on, whether it's in a restaurant, whether it's on one of the rides, or just wandering throughout the land, you feel completely immersed in the land itself. But that's why we love it. It's because it's awe-inspiring, it's jaw-dropping, and it's entertaining and fun. And we can't wait to go back each time that we leave. Right, Hank?
I couldn't agree more. And who would have thunk it? James Cameron's done it.
James Cameron, you dog.
Well, and Joe Rohde. We're going to give Joe Rohde more credit than James
Joe
Cameron.
Rohde gets a lot of credit. Cameron, man, baby. Pandora 2. What's up, dog?
Get it done, bro.
Get it done. We want to see it. I don't think we actually want to see it. But we do want more attractions. And if another movie means more attractions in Pandora, I'm game for that.
Sweet.
But that's going to do it for us this week. As always, thank you so very much for listening to the show. Be sure to rate and review us on iTunes, Google Play, or wherever you listen to podcasts, and share the show with someone you think might enjoy it. If you liked what you heard today, then you've been listening to the WDW Opinion Podcast. If by chance you didn't like what you heard, well, then you've been listening to Startup. For Hank, I'm Connor. We'll see you real soon.